Hello, everyone. My name is Ms. Long, and I have the distinct and rather humbling privilege of being your instructor for English this semester at Jeffco Virtual. I really want to welcome you to class, and with this video, just provide some introductory context for your journey through English this semester. I'm excited to get to know all of you and to reacquaint myself with many of you. I've looked at my rosters and I recognize some names. I'm very happy to have you back in class, and then I see some new names as well. So over the course of the semester, I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of your life journey and to get to know you better. So with this video, I would like to give you some introductory context to your class. Take a look at online learning, take a look at the course itself, and just kind of introduce myself so you get to know that there's really a person behind the computer. I want to express how pleased I am that you've chosen online learning. Nobody comes to this school by accident. You don't wind up here without a deliberate decision to pursue an alternative form of education. And that can be for many, many different reasons. We all have our stories and reasons and experiences and lives and contexts. So whatever your reason is, I congratulate you on choosing it. I will share that I myself got interested in online learning about 10 years ago when my then 11-year-old was a baby. I have a child who has albinism, and so that means he's an albino. It means that he has a visual impairment. And about 10 years ago, I was really thinking about how he was going to cope with a classroom where he can't read what's on the board and he can't easily see the activities at a distance. And I thought, well, this will be perfect. He can sit in front of a computer. And of course, the irony is he's the one child that probably wouldn't do well in this form of education. But in the meantime, I've really become an advocate for online education because it allows you to work at your own pace, allows you to work in your own time schedule, juggle your different activities. And I truly believe that in the long run, students who take online classes are stronger, better students. They've developed self-discipline and the skills of self-advocacy that maybe you don't have to have when you sit at a desk in a physical classroom. So I hope that that is the outcome for you as you approach online learning. Now, many of you are new to online learning, and some of you may need some tips and refreshers on how to get the most out of this. So I'd like to just kind of walk you through my suggestions and my ideas on how this can be best and most beneficial for you. So the first thing I would recommend is that you set aside a regular study time for your online course. Habit is so powerful. Habits are hard to break, habits are hard to form, but once you get a habit, it's going to guide you through. So set aside a regular time, a regular place, so that this isn't something where you have to think about when you're going to do it. You just do it. It's part of your regular day. That could be a free period if you're a part-time student. That could be first thing in the morning. That could be after lunch. Every day you sit down at the same time and you do your online work. That is going to keep you consistent, and consistency will keep you from falling behind and getting frustrated with the course. Second recommendation is that as you go through the materials in this course, you look at everything in order. Don't jump around, don't skip parts of it. That's making it much harder on yourself because you're not going to get all the instructions for the assignments. Third recommendation is that you read all of the feedback and all of the communications. I do spend quite a bit of time on your papers giving feedback so that you can improve, and it's not that I'm doing that because I'm bored and have nothing better to do with my life, but because I really see feedback as a high priority as you are trying to learn skills. If you were aspiring to the Olympics, and I hope some of you have had the privilege of watching that this summer, if you're aspiring to become the greatest, you have to be able to take feedback and suggestions on what to improve. You may not always agree with my feedback or my suggestions, but it certainly should get you thinking about what you're doing. And if you don't read it, you don't have that opportunity. So read the feedback that's in the grade book, that's in your assignments, that's in Edgenuity, all of that feedback and all the communications and updates so you know what's going on. My last suggestion is that you be proactive and ask for help. I really wish students would reach out more than they do. Sometimes students are messaging me with comments like, I hate to bother you, but you're not bothering me. This is why I'm here. If I didn't love working with students, I wouldn't be doing my job. I'd be a Walmart greeter. Much easier job. So I hope that you will take the initiative, reach out to me with your questions, be proactive, let me know when you're struggling. In a classroom, I could look out and I could see the confused faces of my students, and I don't have that here. So it's really imperative that you take time to reach out to me with your questions. And if you do these things as an online learner, you're going to have a very successful semester. So to have a successful semester, you also need to know a little bit about the organization of our course. And this isn't a full Schoology tour at this point. If you're new to Schoology, I suggest you use some of the orientation videos in the course, but this will just give you a general idea of how my courses are laid out. So when you first get into the course, you'll land on the updates page, and there's nothing here at the moment, but there will be announcements on a fairly regular basis about your content, about due dates, about silly jokes, about a few comics, encouragement, things like that. So you'll always want to come here and read the updates. You'll always want to use the calendar over here with assignments that are upcoming and due. And then you'll go to materials as your primary contact point. And there are some resources in here that you'll want to look through. Teacher and contact information with links for turning in late work, links for making appointments if you need help, links to get into a virtual classroom. So you can take a look at this on your own time, but there's some teacher information, or Schoology resources, the course syllabus, the Jeffco link to our virtual website, a virtual school website, so things like that. But you will spend the majority of your time in the course content. And this is where you're going to see folders that have units and sessions worth of instructional materials and assignments. Now you will, as you're in here, link to a new curriculum that we have at the district called Edgenuity. It is very new to me as well, but it's got some really good content, quizzes, assessments that will supplement what we're doing with Schoology. So the two things are going to work together. Good chunk of your curriculum is going to be in Edgenuity, but there are some things like discussions and journals that we will have also in Schoology. Exception to this is if you're credit recovery. If you're doing a credit recovery course, you'll be working primarily in Schoology. Once you get into those sessions, you'll see one page at a time that you can click through. You'll go to a folder, you'll start at the orientation, and you'll just go from each slide to the next with this button here. So that's how you'll proceed. When you're in materials, you'll also want to take note of some resources that we have here: school technology resources, school resources, English resources, Edgenuity, Google, presentation tools, Schoology, web conferencing. Turnitin is in here as well, and English resources to become a better writer, etc. So all of this is there for you to explore. The materials tab, again, is going to be where you're going to want to go to get to the majority of your resources. So as you proceed through your course, I want you to keep in mind that our standards are our objective, but with the way I look at it is, the real goal here is for you to become a better communicator. That means oral communication skills, reading, writing, being able to exchange ideas, being able to equip yourself to gather information and share your original thoughts so that ultimately you have a better life. That's the goal, as I see it. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is a little bit about myself, just so that you know that you're not being graded by a computer. There really is a person behind the computer. I have my good days, I have my bad days. I have times when I want to just hang this up and quit this, and I have days when I absolutely love what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, just like you do. And there is a real person here. So just a little bit about myself so that you realize a little bit more. I was a learner too. I went through Jeffco Public Schools. I'm a Colorado native. Went through Westgate, Carmody, and Bear Creek High School back in the days when Bear Creek was that old building instead of the beautiful new building that you all have now. So Jeffco is very much home to me, and I love the fact that in my position I get to work with students from all over the district. I think we have a phenomenal district with a very proud reputation, and I'm pleased to be part of that. So a little bit about me as a teacher as well. I began teaching and traveling as almost a way of furthering my education and yet jumping off my career, setting my career forward. So I taught for a while in Japan, on an island in the Sea of Japan, not too far from Korea, kind of an interesting little place to be. Then I went to a Swiss mountainside and taught at a boarding school with students who were living thousands of miles from their parents. And while I was traveling overseas and living overseas, I got to do quite a bit of travel in other countries. Been to 6 out of the 7 continents. Eventually I'll get to Antarctica. It's a harder one to get to. But that has really broadened my perspective. And so you'll often hear me refer to those experiences as it's been a part of my teaching and a part of my education as well. As a teacher, after I taught overseas, I came back to Colorado in my home, taught at Sheridan High School for a while. I was a Wheat Ridge farmer for a few years, and then most recently I have been at the Jeffco Virtual Academy. And this is my 3rd year as a full-time teacher. I have done some adjunct work previously to that, some part-time work and stuff. So that's where I am. Now, as a parent, I have a different perspective too. Single parent, basically, with 4 kids here who are the joy of my life. They give me all kinds of crazy chaos, and it gives me a different perspective to be a parent. I'm sending my oldest off to middle school, and he's going to have a different year. My youngest is going to kindergarten, and I see a different, just a different take on the school system. But my children are very, very important to me, so you'll probably hear me reference them as well. And lastly, when I have free time, I enjoy music very much. Playing piano, singing, composing my own music. I have a creative cooking side to me, enjoy the baking side, making kind of specialized birthday cakes. I'm a Star Trek geek. No shame in that. I love the ideas in Star Trek. Same thing that draws me to literature. The ideas about who we are as people and how we live. I love being outdoors, and Colorado's a great place for that. I always attempt to do the whole gardening thing and never quite get what I want. I got a cherry tomato this summer, but that's just how it is. I love just being part of nature. And I have an interest in politics, and I must say that this year with the 2016 election has been quite interesting. There's lots to discuss here. So that's a little bit about who I am as a person, and I get to look forward to getting to know you. And I will do that as you get into the orientation and introduction week session. So go ahead to your class, check out those materials, get started going through each slide in order, and be proactive and be in touch with any questions. It's going to be a great year, and I look forward to working with you.